everything's streaming, but let me we have plenty to start if you want. I don't know. It's up to you.
Yeah, I think it's 11:01.
Okay.
James, you ready?
I'm good.
Good morning, everybody. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Regulation Review Committee meeting Tuesday, July 26, 2022, and my time is 11:01 a.m. Madam Administrator, would you like to do a quorum call?
Yes. Thank you. A quorum call. Representative Arnone.
Representative Arnone here.
Thank you. Representative Carpino. Representative Godfrey.
Representative Godfrey's here.
Thank you. Senator Hartley. Senator Kelly.
Senator Kelly is here.
Senator Kissel.
Senator Kissel is here. Good morning, everyone.
Representative Claire DeStitria.
Representative Claire DeStitria present.
Senator Maroney.
Senator Maroney is present.
Representative McGorty.
Representative McGorty present.
Senator Minor.
Senator Minor present.
Senator Austin.
Senator Austin is here.
Representative Retigliano.
Rep. Retigliano is here.
Representative Ryan.
Representative Ryan's here.
Representative Welander.
Representative Welander is here.
And Senator Hartley.
Yes, Senator Hartley present.
Perfect. Thank you so much. All set.
Okay, and here we go on our agenda, everybody. Item number 1, 2022-009, Department of Energy and Environmental Protection Source Monitoring, LCO recommendation, rejection without prejudice. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Senator Minor, thank you. Second by Senator Kissel. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, Madam Administrator, can we do a roll call vote, please? Kirsten? Did we lose her? She might be frozen.
I think
It
she's
seems-
frozen.
I think she's frozen.
Yeah,
You might
she's frozen.
Okay,
Bree,
I do have a vote tally sheet and I will be your backup.
thank you.
You're welcome. So this is a roll call vote on item 1 of the agenda. Department of Energy and Environmental Protection Source Monitoring Regulations 2022-009. Maroney,
Senator Maroney votes yes.
thank you. Claire DeStitria,
Claire DeStitria votes yes.
thank you. Kissel,
Senator Kissel votes yes.
thank you. Arnone,
Representative Arnone votes yes.
thank you. Carpino, Godfrey,
Representative Godfrey votes yes.
thank you. Hartley,
Senator Hartley, yes.
thank you. Kelly,
Kelly votes yes.
thank you. McGorty,
Representative McGorty votes yes.
thank you. Minor,
Minor votes yes.
thank you. Austin,
Austin votes yes.
thank you. Retigliano,
Rep. Retigliano votes yes.
thank you.
Rep.
I've got you. Ryan,
Representative Ryan votes yes.
thank you. Welander,
Welander votes yes.
thank you. Back to you, Chair.
Thank you. Item number 2 is a resubmittal. Item number 2022-008A, Department of Labor, the Connecticut Family and Medical Leave Act. LCO's recommendation is approval in whole with technical corrections. Do I have a motion?
I'll move that.
Motion by Representative Godfrey, second.
Second.
Second by Senator Kissel. Thank you. Any discussion? Senator Austin?
Can somebody go over what were the changes from last time to this time so that we can see what changes they made?
Bill?
Because last month,
I believe that we have somebody from the Department of Labor on the call. I think I saw Heidi Lane, and perhaps she could relate what the changes were after having discussions with LCO attorneys.
Sure. There were some technical issues that we took care of. The LCO attorneys met with us and we went over the substantive issues. They were incredibly helpful to us. A lot had to do with that. We had some things that looked like that they said were definitions, and we had them within a paragraph that they didn't think should hold a definition. So there were several issues having to do with that. So what we did was we moved the definitions into a separate subsection, so it was clear what we were talking about in the rest of the reg. I think that was the main issues that we had to deal with. There were some things where we had 13 weeks versus 3 months, and we worked that out with the LCO attorneys. And I think those are the basic substantive ones that we had.
So if I could just ask that question on that. So you're saying that the only substantive issues were moving things out of a paragraph and having a section on definitions. Is that what you're saying to us?
I'm saying that, and let me look at our letter that we sent to everyone on the committee that explains it clearly.
So I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but I can't understand half of what she's saying because she's fading in and out. Is there anybody that can explain to us what the substantive changes were? Because I can't, all due respect to Attorney Lane, I just can't hear her.
Anyone else having that issue? I had an issue with another meeting earlier. Am I going in and out?
You sound okay. Right now you sound okay, so go for it. Try it again.
Stay close to your computer.
Okay, maybe I'll turn up the camera. You don't need to 2 feet away. So I'm sorry, give me 2 seconds. So a lot of the issues that we discussed with the LCO attorneys did have to move with moving around some of our sections. So we did that. Forgive me, I'm sorry.
Heidi, I'm not certain that that's a substantive change is moving from one section to another section. So I'm a little confused. What exactly were the substantive changes that had to be made? That sounded to me more technical in nature.
Bill, can you jump in at all?
So, yeah, and I can also allow Attorney Marie Grady to speak on some of these issues. But so with respect to definitions, we do view that as substantive because a definition is supposed to just define the term. It's not supposed to then contain requirements within the definition. So there were substantive concerns that were raised saying substantive provisions need to be moved out of the definition, and the definition should simply define what the term was. So those were some of the issues that Director Lane is referring to. Marie, I don't know if you want to add on to anything that I've been saying.
Yeah, so a number of the substantive concerns had to do with clarity. For instance, the first substantive concern was that the term qualifying exigency appeared 32 times throughout the regulations, at times with a definition, at times with no definition, and at times with different definitions. So the agency, in redrafting the regulations, redrafted it with one uniform definition. And that also was an issue with other definitions. For instance, they use the term qualifying reason 15 times, the term FMLA qualifying reason 13 times. So it's either one or the other. So they changed that to, I believe, FMLA qualifying reason. There were issues with the simple written statement. We had a long discussion about that, where a person who wants to take leave based on a relationship with a person who is not a family member, but stands in such a way with the person that it's akin to a family member. The statute required guidelines. The changes incorporated factors in the guidelines, which actually were in the regulation and another part of the regulation, but should have been included in the simple written statement. So they made that change. They had another section of the regulations had that an employer should provide notice in a language in which its employers are literate when a quote unquote significant portion of workers are not literate in English. We pointed out that, they needed to clarify what a significant portion was. They felt it should be 10%. So that is now included in the regulations. So those are some of the issues.
Thank you, Marie, because that makes much more sense than what we were hearing before. So the substantive changes then were relative to making sure that throughout the regulation, things matched up. Rather than having a hodgepodge of definitions, and that the definitions were, to Bill O'Shea's comment, that they were in a separate section, perhaps the beginning of the regulation, so that's what we're seeing is that. Would you say that that's a fair summarization?
Yes, I would say so. Yes, Senator.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Madam Chair. And I know Senator Minor has his hand up.
Thank you. Senator Minor?
Thank you, Senator Austin. Thank you, Madam Chair. And so to the points that Senator Austin was making, I wonder at times whether, in an effort to reconcile these substantive concerns, whether or not the agency still feels the language meets the intended goal of the statute. And so I don't know who wants to answer that, but knowing that there was significant work done on this reg, is it still kind of the agency's opinion that the statute and the regulation still have the same goal, and that the statute hasn't really been diminished through the regulation?
This is Heidi again. Absolutely, Senator Minor. We stuck to what the statute provided. And it's interesting to note that when we had a public hearing, we got very few comments, which surprised me. Under 10. So people have had an opportunity to read it. We are sticking with the intent of the statute. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Minor. Any other questions, comments? Seeing none, Madam Administrator, can we please have a roll call vote?
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Roll call vote on 2022-008A. The motion is to approve in full with technical corrections. Senator Maroney,
Senator Maroney votes yes.
Representative Clarice Deetria,
Representative Clarice Deetria votes yes.
Senator Kissel, Representative Arnone,
Representative Arnone votes yes.
Representative Carpino, Representative Godfrey,
Representative Godfrey votes yes.
Senator Hartley,
Senator Hartley, yes.
Senator Kelly,
Kelly votes yes.
Representative McGorty,
Representative McGorty votes yes.
Senator Minor,
Senator Minor votes yes.
Senator Austin,
Senator Austin votes yes.
Representative Retigliano,
Rep. Partigliano votes yes.
Rep. Ryan,
Representative Ryan votes yes.
and Representative Wiellander,
Representative Wiellander votes yes.
and Senator Kissel.
Senator Kissel votes yes.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Madam Administrator. And the third item on our agenda is consideration of committee rules. Just a couple comments for this. The rule change would allow the two co-chairs to agree to continue remote meetings through the end of this, our current legislative term. It would then be up to the new chairs, the co-chairs of the committee next year to decide whether they would want to pursue changing the changes or not. Both chairs must agree to remote meetings, and absent of an agreement of the chairs, the meeting will be in person. So do I have a motion to accept the committee rule changes?
I move.
Motion to accept.
Second.
Motion by Senator Kissel, second by, I'm sorry, who was it?
Is that Tom?
Was it Rep. Arnone? Thank you.
Yeah, I'll take the second.
Okay, thank you. Discussion, Senator Minor, I see your hand.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I want to thank you for the opportunity for a conversation yesterday about this subject. I remain concerned with this motion in that there are times, especially when there have been substantive concerns raised on a regulation, that doing this via remote method doesn't permit an opportunity for perhaps a conversation prior to a meeting or post meeting to see if there's a way to resolve some of the issues with regulations. I think the majority of the legislature has no idea what the Legislative Committee on Regulations really does. And the presumption that it's a rather simple process. And it's always seemed to me to be far less than simple, or far more than simple, rather. The attorneys involved, the staff involved have to weigh the intent of the statute against kind of changes in language to make sure that you don't give something up. And I would like to think the legislature is in place in this process to be sure that we don't give something up. There's no doubt in my mind that doing this remotely is more expedient. It is not always technologically easy, but I think to some degree it works. And so, I remain opposed to this change in our rules. And I will go back to the beginning. We toiled with the rule change even to allow remote meetings, and didn't just make that decision remotely. We actually wanted to follow the rules to make sure that we did it the right way, because there are legal ramifications to this process. And so, I suspect I'm probably going to be the only one opposed. It's never been a bother to me. But I think that on this committee, one day a month is not that big a problem. It may not fit everyone's schedule. It certainly may not fit my schedule at times. But the bottom line is, I think the state would be better served if we were in person, at least finish out the end of the year this way. And I think Representative Godfrey mentioned, who knows whether there's going to be some other reason to be remote. That may very well happen. But let it not be the case that we go remote as the fallback until that decision's made at a higher level. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Senator Minor. Rep. Arnone.
Just a counterpoint, if I may. So in this committee, we can sometimes have some extremely short meetings. We can have them, anywhere from a half an hour and sometimes less. And to really, especially with fuel prices today and just the wastefulness of getting everybody to the Capitol for a half an hour meeting during the summer, 45-minute in the summer is really counterproductive, especially with fuel charges. Plus, I think, when we're in session, we're there. So half of the year, we're going to be in session in the Capitol. We can meet in person. But I really think it's just a great idea during the summer when we're off session to be able to do an uncontroversial topics. And that's up to the chairs to decide that, speaking to their caucuses. If there's, interest in meeting, because it's a very important thing, that's up to the chairs. And I'll be the first one to be at the Capitol if that's the case. But for 99% of the cases, I think it's a great idea to have this remotely for the rest of the year. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. Senator Kelly.
Thank you very much. I'm going to give a different perspective. I understand what the new rules are proposing to do. And there's a piece of me that is concerned about the precedence of allowing chairmen, because I think this is a unique body in that it's constitutionally constructed and equal representation. So we have a Republican and a Democrat chairman, but we are not going to have that in all legislative committees. And so on the proposed language, if we were to proceed with that, I would prefer to see more Republican and Democrat agreement. But what I think is important to keep in mind is that we're present after our last committee meeting. The governor declared a public health emergency, which was the necessity for the virtual representation in the first place. And that has been declared and extended through December 28th. So wouldn't it be more efficient to be consistent with the prior rule and just fall back to that moving forward, which would allow individuals to participate virtually because of the public health emergency declared by the governor?
Bill, can you jump in on this?
Well, so I would say that when we were having the meeting the last time, unfortunately, we didn't know what was going to happen, and then shortly after the meeting ended, we found out that the governor had declared a public health and civil preparedness emergency. And I, vividly remember Representative Godfrey's point during the course of that meeting. I will just say candidly, though, the civil preparedness and public health emergency, as I understand it, has been declared for purposes of applying for SNAP funding. And so I think, honestly, you will have attorneys arguing on both sides of the issue whether or not that is a valid justification for this committee to meet remotely. And I think, the issue of the emergencies has caused a lot of consternation in the building. And I think this motion was basically designed to give the chairs the flexibility on a bipartisan basis to make this determination independent of what is going on in the executive branch. So that's how I would just summarize. the nature of the motion.
Thank you, Bill. Senator Maroney? Sorry, Senator Kelly, did you have more? I apologize.
Oh, well, I mean, just as a follow-up, I mean, the public health declaration, while the governor said it was for SNAP benefits, we do see that it's being also used in the arena of absentee balloting, particularly in nursing homes. And the emergency is not limited under statute to just SNAP benefits, and arguably it's not even needed to obtain the SNAP benefits. I think the rules were proposed, the original rules were if the governor made the declaration, then it would allow a member who participated remotely to be considered actually present. And that's what we have here through December 28th. So I think it would be appropriate. And I think it's more prudent to do that under the old rules, because otherwise we're going to get into the issue of a precedent that a committee now allows virtual representation at the discretion of the chairs, which, as I stated, in other legislative committees are not bipartisan. And I think that's an important construct that is absolutely necessary.
Thank you, Senator Kelly. Senator Maroney?
Thank you, Representative Clarence Petria. And I just wanted to thank Senator Minor, Representative Arnone, and Senator Kelly for sharing their viewpoints. And I wanted to echo what Bill O'Shea, our LCO, had said, and that part of the intent was to untether our committee from the executive branch's action, since this is a legislative committee. So by allowing the chairs, it gave us more control over whether we were allowed to meet remote. And while I do understand the concern about the precedents that this sets, this committee, as Senator Kelly mentioned, is different in that it is bipartisan representation. By construct, there are 7 members of each party, and there's 1 co-chair from each party. In addition, it operates under its own set of rules, which are separate from the legislative rules. So with that, I just thank you for recognizing me, Madam Co-Chair.
Thank you, Senator Maroney. Senator Kissel?
Yeah, and I apologize. I have too many hands up.
I didn't know you put more than 1 hand up.
Hey, I understand and totally respect the concerns raised by Senator Kelly. I don't want to sound so jaded that the majority, should we remain with 1 party rule in the legislative branch in the next cycle, that they're going to do what they're going to want to do no matter what the precedent is. That sounds sort of, glass half empty kind of thing, but I've been around long enough to see that happen. But to the extent that this change establishes any kind of precedent, I think it's, in my perspective, I can support it today because I think it's narrowly drafted to the way this committee is. And I feel comfortable that when it is evenly split, that 1 chair is Republican, 1 chair is Democrat, that it's sui generis. It's just totally different than all the other committees. So if 2 Democrats on the Appropriations Committee, the co-chair said, hey, we're just going to make this rule come 2023, I'd have a problem with that because it wouldn't include the minority party. And it might be the other way around, who knows? But in this particular instance, I acknowledge that the gas prices, I think saying this meeting goes a half hour is generous. I've been like 5 minutes into a meeting and missed the meeting. The first time I was involved, back in March or something, I forgot. It was not this year, it was the year before. They go fast sometimes. And so to haul into Hartford, especially if you're not in the Hartford County, I don't know if that's in the public's best interest because everybody could put in for their mileage. So it's really coming from the taxpayers. So I definitely acknowledge that this does establish a precedent, but I think it's extremely narrow to only those committees, of which I'm only aware now that PRI was basically dismembered, unfortunately. I think this is the only one that's now balanced between both parties. And so I think the precedent is limited to us. And so for that reason, with the utmost respect to the position being offered by Senator Kelly, as well as the concerns raised by Senator Minor, my colleagues in the Senate Republican caucus, I feel comfortable enough today to support this at least through the end of the year. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Senator Kissel. And just to echo what other people everybody said, I appreciate everybody's comments and their valid concerns. I agree with Senator Kissel and Senator Maroney. We are a different animal. We're truly a bipartisan committee. And the fact that no other committee operates at all like us is the reason why I think this works well. And I believe it was Senator Kissel, maybe Senator Arnone also mentioned that, Representative Arnone, sorry, mentioned that we will be saving some money by not having to go up to Hartford. And if at any point either one of the co-chairs decides that we need to be in person, then we will be in person. And that is that we will have discussions monthly, and moving forward, hopefully, this will not be an issue. Senator Minor and Senator Austin, I see your hands up. I don't know who is up first, but Senator Minor.
I was going to let Senator Austin go, but I'll be very brief. I want to make it clear. This has, to my mind, nothing to do with partisanship. This has to do with a dialogue, and it has to do with a deliberation about a regulation and a statute and participation. And the legislature has historically been in person. I haven't checked to see what mail costs these days to mail our mail home, but I don't know about you. I can pick up 2 weeks worth of mail, except for emergency stuff, when I go up to the Regs Review Committee meeting. So this really is about trying to get back to normal. And if the legislature wants to think about normal being remote, then maybe there's a broader conversation that ought to be had about the amount of space we have in Hartford. But that'll be for another day. So I appreciate the conversation. I appreciate the different viewpoints, but I don't want anybody thinking that my comments have anything to do with Republican, Democrat. This is not about being partisan. This is about being deliberative. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Minor. Senator Austin.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. So I just have a question. When people are talking about the precedent setting part of this, does this in any way impact other committees? Would there be an ability, Mr. O'Shea, for another committee to take this and make this as part of their rules?
This committee operates independently of the joint rules. It's a statutory committee with its own rules. So you as a legislative body would have to adopt different rules, your entire membership, under the joint rules to effectuate changes that the whole body wants.
So relative to that, you're saying that the rules changes that if we adopt these today would be adopted with no by a simple majority, or is that by a how does that work? Is it just a simple majority, or would it be 90% of the members? How is that? Because effectively we could do it if one person was absent, then one party or another could actually decide these rules. Would that not be a fair statement?
So, Senator, that's a good question. Again, I go back to your own rules. So Committee Rule 14, which is your rules for this particular committee, requires that the rules be amended by 8 votes. So okay. 8 votes are needed today to effectuate this rule change. And this change really does not impact the joint rules. As you know, come January, folks will gather together to see what changes need to be made to the joint rules. And there'll be conversations among the caucuses about the changes that they want to the joint rules in January. And then the entire body will vote on those in January.
Thank you for that. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Senator. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, Madam Administrator, can we please have a roll call vote?
Roll call vote on item number 3, the consideration of committee rules, changing rule number 2 as amended. Senator Maroney,
Senator Maroney votes yes.
Representative Claire DeStitria,
Representative Claire DeStitria votes yes.
Senator Kissel,
Senator Kissel votes yes.
Representative Arnone,
Representative Arnone votes yes.
Representative Carpino, Representative Godfrey,
Representative Godfrey votes yes.
Senator Hartley,
Senator Hartley, yes.
Senator Kelly,
Senator Kelly, no.
Representative McGorty,
Representative McGorty, yes.
Senator Minor,
Senator Minor is no.
Senator Austin,
Senator Austin votes yes.
Representative Ritigliano,
Ritigliano votes yes.
Representative Ryan,
Representative Ryan votes yes.
Representative Welander.
Representative Welander votes yes.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Does my co-chair, Senator Maroney, have any comments?
Can we,
Oh, Senator Austin.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean, my hand is up from before, but can we get a tally on the vote, please? As a matter of the record.
Yes, the tally is 11 voting yay, 2 voting nay, and 1 absent and not voting.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Senator Maroney.
Thank you. I just wanted to say it was nice to see you here, Madam Co-Chair, and just once again on behalf of the committee to express our condolences for the loss of your mother. So, and with that, thank you.
Thank you, Senator Maroney. Senator Minor, is your hand up?
Thank you. Yes, it is. Do you have a sense as to when the chairs would make a decision on a monthly basis about whether meetings would be?
We'll be discussing that moving forward. Once we get our agenda, I'm guessing that that's when we will make the determination.
And the default is in person, and
if we don't agree, it's in person, correct?
and so the decision would most likely be made prior to the formation of the agenda that's sent out.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Minor. Senator Maroney, thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for attending the meeting today. Have a great day.
Can we have a motion?
Thank you. And thank you, Senator Maroney.
At 11:39, do you have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Motion by
Second.
Representative Godfrey,